A lot of you know that I make my money in esports. This is pretty much the niche that I have carved my way into, and the month of July was insane. I had Call of Duty Champs one week, the very next week I flew to Atlanta, and then from Atlanta I flew to Saudi Arabia, all for esports, and it was exhausting. So I'm going to do my best to show you everything that I was tasked to do with all of these events. They were all different. Call of Duty and Halo, which was in Atlanta, was me filming the entire event, and then Saudi Arabia was me there for one team and kind of following them around. So with Call of Duty Champs, media day, I was put on DIT, which I had never done before. So it was kind of interesting, but it was actually a lot of fun. It was really chill. I kind of just got to listen to music. They would drop footage off. I would have to go through and rename it. And this is when I got to show off basically my brand new SSD Enclosure hard drive. And it was blazing fast. I could offload 50 gigabytes of footage within a minute. So being able to offload that footage so quickly was good for everybody. I was able to rename it and get it to the editor, and everybody was able to get things done efficiently. The rest of the weekend was pretty much business as usual. I was tasked with covering the event and all the big moments and stuff. But this event was really cool because this is like world champs. This is like what these teams are gunning for every year. And they had this like really cool walkout that all the players would do, and it made for some really dope footage. It was really fun to kind of get to experiment with this. I also got to be right on stage for all the big moments and stuff, so I had full stage access. This was also one of the most electric events I had ever filmed before. I mean, I would get adrenaline rushes during some of these matches because they would become so close and the crowd would be so loud. So I'd have to put this as like top 3 events that I've gotten to do. This was also a really cool moment. As you can see, the fans are packing out this house, and all the footage that you see on the screen is my footage. This is everything that I was shooting over the weekend. They compiled it and then played it for like a hype video on Championship Sunday. So that was like a really cool moment to like get to witness that. Other than that, Optic won, and if you're in Call of Duty or esports at all, you probably know who Optic is. They won on home turf here in Texas. So it was crazy. I mean, this was like a movie finished moment. I was stressing out trying to get all these different shots, but I ended up getting one of my favorite shots in my entire career, and that's this shot right here. That's when they lift the trophy, the confetti comes flying. It was just, I was so stressed to try to get to the back and get this shot, but it was so worth it. One of my favorite shots for sure. This is something that a lot of people dream of, and I can't believe that somehow I made it here. And this was one of the first times in my career that I had a moment of just like realization of where I'm at and what I get to do. In the stroke of randomness, I am headed to Atlanta this week, and straight from Atlanta, I go to Riyadh, which is in Saudi Arabia, for a week for an event out there for esports. And I've had this SKB case for a while. It's about the size of a Nanic 935, I think, and like a Pelican 1510. So I'm breaking down the FX6 to see if it's gonna fit here. All right, this took like an hour and a half, but it closes. I don't have to put any pressure on it, just like that, and we're good to go. I get questioned all the time, how do I know what to pack, or what do I pack, all that. I'm gonna run through that really fast. So obviously we have the FX6 broken down to its parts. The body, the monitor, this is the microphone cover, and then I have the handle facing down. That way there's no pressure put on it, and I have this extra strap here just to kind of keep it in place. I have the Fuji with my secondary lens, just because it's a faster lens. 2 V-mount batteries, Rode video mics, just in case I have to do little interviews or whatever. I have an adapter, so this is a Type G adapter. Pretty much plug this in, and then I will plug in my strip right here. I have all the cables I need, so I have 4 USB-C cables. This takes 4 USB-C cables. We have the handle, we have the Hollylander monitor, the little bits that do the antennas. I'm actually gonna leave these behind. I don't wanna take a risk of breaking these, and I'm not gonna have a use for these, so I'd rather just store them safely up here. My Tamron 35-150, the only lens I'm gonna take, it's the only lens I ever need. We have all the cables that run, so we have the battery, dummy for the monitor, dummy battery, SDI cable, and then my XLR cable with my Rode into G mic. We have the XLR to 3.5mm adapter. We have the arm for the monitor. We have a filled note. So this is like when I use to take notes throughout the day. SD card case, waterproof, all that. Bits and pieces, couple Allen wrenches, and then all the cables that I'll need. And then in this pocket, in my cord bag, I have my audio stuff. So this is my 3.5mm, my stickies, my lav mics, all that. So the last piece of this puzzle is lighting. I am not gonna try to bring some big lighting kit, obviously. This is my Amaran T2C or P2C, I can't remember. The whole idea for this would either be to use a window as my key, and then this would provide some kind of rim light, hair light. All right, the next piece to this is this travel tripod kit that I got. This is a Besson Photo A5188 travel tripod. It's tiny, it's super duper light, and it's perfect for something like this. I know for a fact it'll hold this light up with no issues, standing straight up. This is the Manfrotto Be Free tripod. This goes in here as well, and as you can see, like, it's pretty small. I am pretty excited about this build. So using a NATO rail on the FX6 gauge, and then using a small rig magic clamp, I can easily get the GoPro on there for some POV, and it's not in my way. As always, on the first day of these events, it's, in my opinion, a very smart thing to do to figure out your layout. It's a 2-minute walk or so from the hotel that I'm staying at to the convention center. I'm gonna be here all weekend. Tomorrow is the first day. Might as well know the lay of the land. So every time I get to these places, the first thing I do is try to figure out where I'm going to be walking to every day, where my entrance is at, where check-in is at. Other than that, this is pretty much business as usual. I've made a couple of videos on these before that were a little bit more in-depth, and I can link those down in the description. But it's just a lot of running around, filming teams, looking for cool moments, trying to get big reactions, stuff like that. This event was a little difficult because the stage was so small and they were so close to the LCD walls behind them. It just like doesn't make for interesting shots, but nonetheless, you got to get in there and you got to find a way to get creative. I did throw my GoPro on to Ori's Blackmagic camera. This is the guy that hires me, and they're shooting a documentary on a couple of these players. So he was here for an extra day, just kind of filming and doing all that, but he has such a sick setup. It's like shoulder mounted and everything. It's such a cool rig. That's pretty much all there was to show here at Atlanta. There wasn't a ton of new things going on that I hadn't shown in previous vlogs before. These are the same people that hired me for Call of Duty Champs, so they keep me busy all year, and I am very thankful that they continue to keep me around. But from Atlanta, we move on to Saudi. So I've been trying to get myself off of social media as much and looking to read more and just kind of take my mind elsewhere. I think it also helps with being creative to kind of enjoy other people's creations. I found this book called The Pariah, and if you like fantasy or Game of Thrones or anything like that, this has been a great one. So this flight is 10 hours to Paris with a 2.5-hour layover, and then 6 hours from Paris to Riyadh. It was really cool flying into Paris though, because I could actually see the Eiffel Tower from my window, and I did not realize how huge France was. I mean, it kind of just makes New York look tiny in comparison. It's always so weird getting to these connecting flights, because trying to figure out where you gotta go, and sometimes you have to get your bags, sometimes you don't, but apparently I'm going this way. This has been kind of a challenge. This place is bougie. I don't know what I was expecting at the France airport, but it was not this. They had some of the coolest like seating areas I've seen in an airport yet. It was so thematic, and it was just kind of fun to experience this.
After that airplane.
First time seeing the room. Wow, what the heck? This is nice, like full bathtub. This is what I remember last time. They would replenish those water bottles every single day. Got like a whole full-on desk right here. This is sick. Jet lag is hitting me pretty hard. I woke up at about 5 this morning on Saudi time, which is like 9:30 p.m. my time back at home. My body's a little out of whack. I did sleep all the way through. I never woke up once like I thought I would. But yeah, once I woke up at about 5, I knew I was pretty chalked. The view is so pretty out here. It's insane. Like, I love it. I've got to get the camera built today, and I've got to get this kind of set up so that I can get edits and stuff out. I'm having to manage content for 2 different teams, so for 2 different games. So one team from Rainbow Six Siege and then the other one from Apex Legends. Okay, so before I talked about one of the reasons I got a MacBook was I wanted like dual screen capabilities with the iPad, but I wanted it for DaVinci. I wanted to basically have a full screen timeline and I have my media over here. If you plug it in via the USB-C cable, then you can go up here to your workspace and actually turn on a dual screen, which lets me do a full screen dual screen setup. So if I'm working on big projects, I have all my media and stuff that I can go to and, you know, whatever, and then just drag it over here into the timeline. I was gonna wait until the end of the video to kind of say what I'm about to say, but I don't know. I don't want a lot of people to miss this. A lot of people will view these videos and kind of glorify it a little too much. And I'm not saying that I am not extremely appreciative of the opportunity to be here. I don't want people to watch this and feel like what they're doing is not cool or not enough or anything like that. What a lot of people don't talk about or a lot of people don't mention in this type of stuff is I'm exhausted. Like, I am so tired right now and it's gonna be a very long week. And people don't think about, you know, what that does to you creatively. And my job here is to be creative and try to make a bunch of dope content, you know, for both this and the vlog and stuff. And I don't think people realize sometimes how, you know, just exhausting it can be. And the thing about social media and, you know, even these vlogs is a lot of the times it's just kind of showing you the highlights of things. Like I do try to show the ups and downs as best I can. And a lot of times at these events, I really am spending a lot of time in these hotel rooms. I'm not going out and exploring a lot. This is a job at the end of the day. I just want for people who are watching this and thinking that what they're doing isn't enough or not cool enough or they're never gonna be able to do anything like this. I know it's cliche to say, but I never thought I'd be in this scenario. I just want you to understand, like, what you're doing is enough. Every single day that you're working hard and you're trying to get better and you're connecting and you're making connections, you're getting there. Just keep doing what you're doing. I hope this is making sense. So yeah, this place is insane. It is like a giant entertainment center for people to come and hang out. There's multiple live games, there's shops, there's food. There is so much for you to do. Times Square, but for gamers. But this is setup day, so this is the only day out of the entire week that I'm gonna have full access to the stage and the players being on stage and whatnot. So a lot of the times it's trying to make do with as much as you possibly can to get as much footage as you can. This is the time to film the trophy, film them getting set up and everything, because once the weekend started, they were very strict about me not being on stage. So here I'm just trying to get a lot of shots as if they were just looking into the crowd, as they're talking to each other. Eventually they go into game to warm up, so you know, you kind of shoot it in a way that it makes it look like they're already in a match. It's just trying to make the best of the situation. I didn't hardly vlog anything yesterday. I was just fighting for my life. This like time change is crazy. Fun fact, years ago when I came to Saudi, I got to go all the way to the top of that building right there. It's like a big sky bridge thing you can go on. So this was a moment during rehearsal where they were just going through all the teams and stuff, and I actually got one of my favorite shots of the whole event here. I love the composition and the color of this shot. And again, this was just on rehearsal. This is when they told us to basically stay up in the stands. We can't go on stage, whatever. And it's just trying to make the best of every scenario possible. So this is how the day would look a lot, is I would try to find content pieces, things that they weren't really asking for, but things that I knew they wanted for socials and whatnot. So it could be interviews or it could just be really cool shots that kind of tell a story. And then I would do my best to pretty much just cut it up, color it, and I would use my hotspot through my iPhone to upload it, giving them a piece of content that they could post to Twitter and socials, you know, before the game even ever got started.
So when this event would be like very surreal, I'm not gonna lie, the money is like a really good thing, just for my family. I'm not really looking for it for myself.
Hotel is insane. It is now 11 o'clock. Basically have to make a string out. So yeah, I'm exhausted. I honestly just want to take a shower and go to bed. Something I thought was interesting was the entire production team for the whole event was using the DJI Ronin 4D cameras, and they honestly looked really dope. I was kind of peeking over the director's shoulder, looking at the footage, and They're clean. It looked like something that was very usable for this type of event where you're needing to do a ton of broadcast production. This Flywire camera was also insane. It was on a gimbal as well, and it was basically being used to create VR for online viewers. So they were projecting like the trophy, and it looked like it was like floating above the players and stuff. I hope to see more expanded on in later years and just kind of at other events. Another thing that was kind of cool was Sony was sponsoring one of the games that I was there for, Rainbow Six Siege, and so all of this crew that was running around, I think there was like 4 different little crews were on the Sony Buranos. They had audio guys, they had PAs. It was just cool to see them all fluidly running around capturing footage of all these different teams everywhere. It's like a city out here. Just gotta film interviews and then break that down, put this back in here, and then start my 20-hour travel day. So let's go get these interviews knocked out. So this is pretty much what we ended up with on the interviews. I didn't have much control over anything. The F2 really kind of makes a nice scene here. You got the Esports World Cup flags in the back, and then you have the palm trees, and you kind of get that Saudi Arabia feel and look, which is what I wanted. Obviously, the sunlight is a little harsh. He's got a huge shadow coming off his face, but not the pinnacle of my success, but I think it works.
More together, you know. All the meals we eat here, we eat together. We go to gym in the morning together.
I board at 2 o'clock, so I got here way earlier than I needed to, but I like working at the airport. We actually had Simone Biles on our plane, so there was this huge crew of people just waiting to see her and welcome her back home, so that was kind of interesting.